Yo, how's everyone doing today? Welcome to this. It's gonna be a short kind of podcast, but it's gonna be a March 8th, 2022 review day because
Yes.
it was a massive day in football. Um, Not for us, unfortunately.
Well, I mean,
Well, I mean, it could have been a much bigger day for me. Apparently, I could have almost had an MVP, but did not. But that doesn't matter. Today we're gonna be talking about a bunch of different things that happened today. We're gonna talk about some franchise players, players that got franchise tagged. We're gonna be talking about obviously the two big ones: Aaron Rodgers staying, and Russell Wilson going to Denver for a big package, stuff like that. We're gonna break it down all in this video, talk about it, our thoughts, early thoughts. This is gonna be uploaded the same day, like as soon as we're done recording it. It's gonna be a quick little edit, throw it on there, because we want it to be recent. Coming up, we have our first combined mock draft. We have some other free agency stuff because free agency is right around the corner, so we're doing a little bit of stuff like that. And then obviously we'll be continuing to drop more mock drafts.
as time
Obviously,
gets closer. Like,
yeah. Honestly, we could do a mock draft here relatively soon because now you got Seattle with first round picks. Denver doesn't have any first round picks, and the combine just happened, so that some people tested really, really well, some people didn't test well. So there's some changes there. Obviously, we're going to continue to do research and our own stuff before we do that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into today's dramatic events.
yes.
Where should we start? Let's start with what happened the first. Like, let's go in chronological order.
Okay.
So first, Aaron Rodgers decides to stay in Green Bay. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay. I don't think, like, I don't know where to start on this. I think if he's trying to win a ring, this was possibly when he had better options than just staying at Green Bay. And don't get me wrong. I think Green Bay is a good team, a great team. Like it seems like every year they have the pieces. Last year, you're looking at Green Bay, and I was like, all right, this team is gonna go into the NFC Championship against the Rams, and they're sitting there at home field advantage, and they lose. And I understand they have a terrible special teams, but why are you only scoring, what was it, 13 points at home? Was it 13 or 10?
One of the two. I think maybe even 10. I'm not sure though. I could look it up.
Yeah, it was something super low. But why are you scoring only 13 to 10 points against the San Francisco 49ers? Home. So you should be acclimated to this weather. And second of all, why
10 points.
is 10 points? Wow. And don't get me wrong, the defense played pretty solid. I'll admit the defense played solid, but like that offense did not look good at all.
Yeah.
And one thing I really started to notice as well is that it was very Rodgers Adams heavy. Like that's all you saw was the ball being thrown to Adams the entire time. It's like it's hard to like understand like exactly what was going on. If it was like he just doesn't trust his other receivers enough in that weather, or whatever the case may have been. But I mean, after that post conference, you would have definitely thought that it was over for Rodgers and the Packers. So I'm super shocked.
I think, to be honest, here's how I think about it. Like now, obviously, after the Wilson trade, which people could have said would have been different, like maybe Rodgers goes to Green Bay or to Denver. Sorry, sure, but Seattle was obviously gonna deal Russell Wilson. They just didn't want him to go to the NFC. So you almost could bet that someone was gonna call. Someone was probably gonna call Seattle about Russell Wilson from the AFC. I mean, think about the teams that could, Miami maybe. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of different options.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have eventually dealt to an NFC team. Maybe they would have. But it sounds like he was going to go to the AFC. So if Rodgers would have went to Denver or Tennessee or Pittsburgh, which apparently were all mentioned, he would have had to play Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Josh Allen, all of these guys. And I think at the end of the day, Rodgers made the right decision. Yes, as a Titans fan, I would love for him to be in Tennessee, but it's not going to happen. He's going to stay in Green Bay, and I think it's smart for him. He has the best chance to make it to a Super Bowl. Not that he has the best chance to win a Super Bowl, sure, but that's where he has the best chance to make it to the Super Bowl. Right now, if you're looking at it, Dallas, okay, fine. You can play Dallas. You're not really scared about Dallas right now. 49ers in the future, they have a rookie right now. Oh, a guy that's a second year, but it's gonna be first time playing, Trey Lance, like first time full season.
I think 49ers are gonna be a problem in the future for sure.
Yeah, definitely in the future, but right now, maybe not. You don't even know what they got in Trey Lance yet. Arizona, sure, I guess, but they have their problems late year. And the Rams, obviously. Am I forgetting about anyone else? I mean, the Falcons now with Calvin Ridley, no. The Panthers still don't have a quarterback, no. Bears, maybe, like in the future. Vikings, maybe. The Lions,
yeah, Vikings
down the road. He might be retired by then. His best chance was in the NFC, and the only way he was going to stay in the NFC is if he stayed with Green Bay. So, yeah, in my opinion, I think it was a smart move. And here's the thing: now that Green Bay knows they're good with him. For however, by the way, this 4-year, $200 million contract is not true. It has been reported by Aaron Rodgers himself. He went out on Twitter and said that contract is not true. He has decided to stay in Green Bay. He will for sure play for Green Bay next year, but those numbers are not true. I think it might be more team friendly. Because yes, Aaron Rodgers deserves a lot of money, but Aaron Rodgers does not seem like the guy that needs all the money in the world. I think he just wants to win a Super Bowl.
And I think that'd be the best approach to take it, is a Tom Brady approach.
Yeah.
Like, you take pay cuts so that you can build a massive
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. He's going to make money. He's going to get his money. He's going to make really good money. But he's not going to need that $200 million, $50 million a year type that they were first announcing.
Right. It was like, what, $200 million total?
Yeah, $50 million
guaranteed
a year.
Oh,
$50 million a year, which would made him the highest paid NFL player ever. Which I don't know. Maybe that is his goal. Maybe. But for me, I don't think it is. But another thing here's the thing. They got their picks. They know he's the future for 4 years. They go get him some talent. I think defensively they look good right now. Obviously there's some free agent stuff they need to fix up, which is why I think that he's going to take if he takes a big contract, this year will not be a big hit. And I think that he might get a big contract right now, and it's just going to be pay cut every year. Like, he's just gonna do the reconstruction of the contract and take it off the cap hit. Like, that's what they're gonna do with him. I personally think if it's a big contract, it's gonna be reconstruction every year. He's always gonna have his players. It's Aaron Rodgers. Let's be honest. So right. I think it was a good move for both people, and I think now they trade Jordan Love. And we were having this conversation earlier, and I told Devin, if I'm the Packers, I'm looking for a late first round, early second round for Jordan Love, and I'm taking and if I did say Denver earlier, obviously that's not the case anymore. If I am Carolina, if I am Washington, if I'm New Orleans, I'm taking that. In my opinion, I am, because a lot of people say, and it is close for me, Jordan Love would be the best quarterback in this draft class. Him, Malik Willis, obviously, and for me, Sam Howell. I think those three are very they can compete. I think, and let's not forget, Jordan Love has now had 2 years behind Aaron Rodgers, which you can say what you want. That's beneficial. Like, he learned from one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He's on a rookie contract. He has 3 years left. He's a first-round pick. So if you give him a second-round pick, you got a first-round pick with 3 years left on his deal. 2, and you get to decide on the third. So you can really control that. You get your time to develop him, work with him, but he has very high potential, in my opinion. That's what he was drafted out of Utah State for the high potential. I think it's worth giving Green Bay a call, because why do they need Jordan Love now? They have 4 more years. By the time Rodgers is done, which he might not even be done by the fourth year. Let's be honest. Who knows? He's still slinging the ball right now, but there's no point to hold on to him. His contract will be done, and he's not going to re-sign. You just wasted this guy's career. Respectfully, you wasted his career. If he sits there, you do nothing with him.
No, I agree. There was one quarterback you did not mention, though. Jameis Winston, I think, is going to be a hot one.
Yeah, but he's a free agent. He's going to get way more money than Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I definitely think, like, if you're looking for, like teams like the Panthers, who are, like, I personally feel like that quarterback away to be, being a
playoff
positive win team. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and especially in the NFC. Like, I want to establish that
they
right
could
now.
win the division, by the way, with Jameis Winston.
Oh, yeah. I think... yeah, actually, yes.
I mean, if the Bucs have Kyle Trask, you don't know what you're getting.
Right. And, I mean...
The Saints, they lost Sean Payton.
I think it would be... two scenarios. It would either be Panthers Bucks or Bucks Panthers. I feel like Saints and Falcons are both in like.
I thought the Falcons had a
absolute,
chance till Calvin Ridley got out for the year.
I still think they need a lot of work.
I mean,
They still
but Matt
need a
Ryan's
second-
like so productive. Like, he's a little underrated. Matt Ryan is at this point underrated in his career. Like, he could have got him some wins. Like, I think because we don't. By the way, here's the thing, right? Obviously it's super early to talk about this because the Saints are still in negative cap. We don't even know what their team will look like next year. The Bucks.
I'm said.
Yeah, the Bucks have said they're interested in looking at, like, they've done their homework on Deshaun and stuff like that. We don't even know who will play quarterback for them. Godwin's, like, they just did the Godwin tag, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and he won't even play he won't start the year for sure coming off an ACL. Like, there's a lot of things in the NFC South that we don't know about, but I mean, just looking at, like, roster wise right now, they had a chance to be a division winner or a wild card team, especially in the NFC. You're right, especially in the NFC.
I don't know. I just think the Falcons are still missing some pieces. Like, I think they're starting to build something there, but I still think they need a couple of pieces before they start becoming that, like, a playoff team. Like, I think they can be a playoff team next year or this year.
Depending on the NFC, I think so, yeah.
Well, I think yeah. I mean, yeah. It depends on like how the other teams play out because, it is very clear that there is a massive, and I mean massive, gap from the AFC to the NFC. The AFC, I mean, every corner you turn, there is some playoff team, and that's what. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be watching a lot of AFC games this year. You've got the Colts, Titans, not Patrick Mahomes. See, I associate the Chiefs with Mahomes now. Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. Who else? Bills.
Yep.
Patriots.
There's a lot of very good teams in the AFC.
Exactly, and it's like, oh, and let's not forget the Bengals, the Ravens, the Browns. The Browns are still kind of iffy because of Baker, but
Obviously
I mean,
Baker,
they still
yeah.
do have good pieces though.
Seems like
That's
Jarvis
11
Landry might be
teams.
gone too. Jarvis Landry
Yeah.
because of a cap casualty, but yeah, I don't know. It just made, going back to Rodgers. It made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense for him to stay in the NFC because of that, because of the AFC depth. Like you're right. Here's the thing: Super Bowl is, like, in my opinion, I'm a big believer in playoffs. Playoff games is all about matchups. Like, how does this team match up against this team? You know what I mean? So he could play against teams that he matches up well against, and in the Super Bowl, he might play the Bills, but he might match up better. Like, it's all about matchups at that point. You know what I mean? So he's gonna get himself. He's gonna get himself in the playoffs. He's probably gonna have the number 1 or number 2 seed, like he always does in the NFC. The question is, how will he match up against the other teams? And that's what I'm saying. The NFC is so weak. We could see a Carolina team with 8 wins playing Green Bay, or you know, playing the 2 seed. You know what I'm saying? Like, realistically, we could have an 8-win playoff team next year in the NFC.
I honestly think so. Like, it's that bad.
And that's
down
with
in the
17
NFC.
games. Let's not forget, with 17 games, we might have an 8-win team in the playoffs. Who knows?
No, and I absolutely agree. Like looking at it, I mean, I kind of see where you're going. Like, I think it was I could see what's the smartest move in the sense where, like, okay, this is the much weaker conference.
I mean,
Let me not get
like, let's
stuff in that
100%.
conference over there.
I mean, in the
Stacked.
AFC, you have to play at your 100% every game in the playoffs, and even leading up to the playoffs to fight for good seeds. So you might not have to play the best people every week. I mean, that's that's seriously the mindset in the AFC right now. Is like, you have to play your best every single game.
Yeah.
Because if you drop one game, you can go from the 1 seed to the 7 seed. It feels like it really does.
The Ravens,
So,
good
yeah.
example right there. Later in
I mean,
last
with
year.
injuries, yeah, but I'm like, with all the, I mean, I don't know. It was definitely a smart move for him. And now Green Bay has a little bit of leverage. Like, they're lucky. If this was a good quarterback class, Jordan Love pick would be wasted. But if you could turn Jordan Love into a second rounder, free up some money, you know, go. This is a very good, in my opinion, this draft is a very good depth class. Like, you can get a good receiver in round 2. You can get good offensive linemen in round 2. You can get some decent defensive players, edge rushers, defensive tackles. There's a lot of good, like, depth guys in this draft. So that a second round pick is very valuable, especially if it's an early second round pick. If one of those teams that we mentioned does trade for Jordan Love. or even if they're crazy and do a first round pick. You know what I mean? Like, they should be glad it's a weak quarterback class because teams will spend a little bit more for them, and they should be glad that it has really good depth overall because that actually has some value. Like a second round pick, an early second round pick is very, very good. Like, it really is this year.
Yeah, no, I think that's I feel like if they do they do. I mean, I think they will trade Jordan Love. I think we both
have to, right?
that.
Have to.
Right, exactly. But I will say this though, I think in order for this to be worth it, Rodgers has to walk out with a Super Bowl in the 4 years, and I think it's possible. But it's just who they're playing on the other side of the field.
Yeah, it really does. It's just how the dice fall, really.
I mean, first they gotta get to the NFC. Like, no matter how shit the NFC is,
you gotta win
it. They struggle against teams that they shouldn't. Like last year, this the recent playoffs where they lost against the 49ers, they should have beat them.
Oh yeah.
They I don't know how Jimmy G managed to go up there and beat them. That was shocking to me.
You know, the thing I think about, and it's kind of crazy to me. They neglected the offensive side of the ball because how good Aaron Rodgers is. Because you have Aaron Rodgers, you have Devontae Adams, you have Aaron Jones, you have A.J. Dillon. Very, very good players. Let's just go fill in the blank with these other guys and let's go spend some on defense, which I understand, like you had to at your point because their defense wasn't good a couple years ago. Now it was a very, very good defense. It was a very, very good defense at the end of the year last year. And even in that playoff game, the defense was not the problem at all. I mean, literally, I think there was one touchdown given up, and it was a punt block. Let's think about that. The defense didn't even give up a touchdown. You know what I mean? So I think it's now time, all right, with your picks, fill in with some, get him a wide receiver. Robert Tonyan, I do believe, at tight end is a free agent. So maybe get something at tight end for you or keep Tonyan. He's coming off an ACL, so I don't know if he'll be ready right away. Make sure you have a solid receiver or a tight end in place. Get him some receivers. A young receiver at the end of round 1 with Devontae will not have any pressure because Devontae Adams is on the other side of the field. And Aaron Jones is in the backfield. You know what I mean? Like, you could get a very, very good receiver in the first or second round to come play and be a perfect wide receiver number 2 next to Devontae.
No, I think that's perfect. They could go that route, and 100%. Or they could trade for Amari Cooper somehow. What I'm thinking
he's going to be a free agent. They're probably going to cut him. Yeah, he might get cut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that'd be a great weapon for them to add to the arsenal. I think that would complement Devontae Adams very well.
That would be filthy. And I wonder what their money's looking like after the contract, though.
Yeah,
and Devontae Adams was franchise tagged. It'll be interesting to see because I'm expecting them to give him a contract. Now that Aaron's staying, they're going to probably work out a contract with him. I'm interested to see what Devontae Adams will take as a contract, and obviously what Aaron Rodgers' contract will be. Because if they can get some cap space, you're right. Amari Cooper, if you're looking at it, Amari Cooper's had some down years. Like, he really has. He got out, and then CD and Michael Gallup look good. Now he's getting cut for CD and Michael Gallup. He wasn't even the best receiver on his team. I'll be interested to see if Amari Cooper goes and plays for Aaron Rodgers. Say, hey, look, I'm going to be wide receiver 2. Just feed me the ball. Me and Devontae, we got this. I'll be wide receiver 2, man-to-man, like one-on-one coverage the whole time. And he thrives on a 1-year contract and then goes and gets money the next year to prove I'm still legit. That would be intriguing. I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. If he would come out and say, "Hey, I'll take less money to go play with Aaron Rodgers because I know that I'm going to get the ball, like, and I could thrive as a wide receiver number 2." Holy, imagine
that'd be scary.
Very scary.
And that's the thing. Like, he was with the Raiders. The Raiders, obviously, kind of at the time when he was drafted, was kind of a little bit of a shit show. I mean, they still kind of are now. Because the whole John Gruden thing kind of I think it's still impressive that they were able to go to the playoffs with everything going on.
Yep.
They're blocking all the outside noise. So once again, kudos to the Raiders for that. But then he comes to Dallas, and like you said, he's on a stacked wide receiver squad. He's not being utilized because you already have all these other receivers
and injuries around. And all. A lot of things happen. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Give him this opportunity where like you were saying, wide receiver 2, but. I guarantee you, Devontae Adams still might be double teamed, and that provides opportunities for Mark.
Or bracketed like he was in the playoffs. Like it was a zone coverage, like 2 guys around, But another name that we talked about before we recorded this. Who says they're not calling for DK Metcalf right now?
That would be interesting too.
If I'm the Packers, right, and I'm looking at the draft board, and I'm looking in, like, let's say, Jamison Williams, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Traylon Burks, those guys are off the board. And you look and you say, all right, is Drake London, for example, better than DK Metcalf? Maybe I'm calling Seattle and say, hey, look, I'll give you my first round pick for DK Metcalf. So it's basically like with the 27th or 28th, whatever pick they have, 20 or 30th, whatever pick they have, with the 29th pick in the NFL draft, the Green Bay Packers select DK Metcalf. Because he's still on a rookie contract. He has 2 years. 2 years? No, 1 more year. Maybe this is last year.
I think that's what they should do, honestly. Honestly, like, if they wanted to, like, I think the Seahawks should do a full rebuild. An entire rebuild. I know we kind of touched upon this, but like you said, I think they need a new coach. I don't think Pete Carroll's a bad coach, but
Which we can
it's time
actually,
for him to move on.
Real quick, do you have anything else to say about Green Bay? Because we can go straight into the Seattle one. Actually, we'll go right into it.
Particularly no, but I think it kind of ties in. Well, I mean, it kind of ties in.
Yeah, well, let's talk. Let's just introduce. Now, let's talk about Russell Wilson to Denver. Denver sends a buttload of stuff. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Now, what's your point? Go ahead.
Okay, so with the Seahawks, I think it's time now, especially with this Russell Wilson trade. I mean, he was the person who pretty much put everything together. He has good pieces around him, but that defense has always been terrible. Well, at least for the past 3 years. Ever since the Legion of Boom has been gone, that defense has been god awful. And so here's what I think they do. They still have valuable pieces on their team.
Yep.
They still have Jamal Adams. They still have Tyler Lockett. They still have, DK Metcalf. If I'm them,
Bobby Wagner.
Oh, yes, and Bobby Wagner too. You take all these players and you trade them for picks. You can literally start a whole new squad this year on young guys. For the quarterback, Malik Willis. For a receiver that's probably going to be closest to DK Metcalf would be Drake London. Let's see. Then you would have 2 more picks that round. If you can, maybe with one of your earlier picks, you can get Kyle Hamilton. There's your safety replacing Jamal Adams. For linebackers,
how many first round picks do they have?
That would be.
No. I think they're only getting. I think they.
3 total, but like I'm saying, if they were to trade Jamal Adams for a first round pick.
Oh, yeah, you could get. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right, you get Kyle Hamilton, a younger guy than Jamal Adams. Just start out fresh. And you wouldn't even need to get a linebacker in the first round because there's still going to be linebackers, in the second and third round. Available.
And that's a good point. Like, here's the thing. They're going to have pick number 9. We know that for a fact, right? Mm-hmm. And they could look at quarterback. If they like a quarterback at 9, go ahead. You could also trade back because 9 is in that spot where there's going to be a lot of talent left at 9. Like, that's valuable at 9. It's hard to trade back at 1, 2, and 3 this year because there's not an elite level quarterback. You know what I mean? But right. At 9, that's a good trade back spot. If you're like, hey, listen, we could just take all the picks. Okay, you could trade back a little bit and get a little bit more picks. And like, for example, I believe pick 11 was the Giants, or 10 or 11 was the Giants last year.
11, I think.
Last year the Giants were picked 10 or 11, right? And the Bears traded up to get Justin Fields. After they did that, it was this year's first rounder they gave them, or last year's first rounder, so they moved back, and then they also got this year, so the Giants have 2 first round picks this year. The Seahawks could do something similar, trade back, get this year's pick, and then also get next year's first rounder, and they would be in a very good spot, like with picks overall. They could rebuild that whole squad. The question is, what value you're going to get? For example, what value you're going to get for a 33-year-old Bobby Wagner? What value are you going to get for a not so highly touted right now Jamal Adams? Because they gave up 2 first-round picks for Jamal Adams. Right now, you're not going to get 2 first-round picks. Who knows what value you're going to get from him? What value are you going to get for DK? What value are you going to get for 31-year-old Tyler Lockett, whose cap hit is continuing to grow every year? Those are the type of questions that I have for the Seahawks. I'm interested to see what that market is like. There's been reports that they've already looked into getting rid of Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf's not necessarily a guy that is going to be traded because he is younger. Like I said, he's still on that rookie contract, so he could develop with this new quarterback. Tyler Lockett is, like I said, I think he turns 31 this year or 30, so he is a little bit on that older side. Bob Wagner has to go, in my opinion. Jamal Adams has to go, I think, because he's also older. So
it's got to be a fresh start for this team. It's got to be. Like, you can't sit there and get rid of, this quarterback that's done pretty much everything for y'all, and then sit there and try to expect to keep some of these big pieces, which I guarantee you most of them are going to want to leave anyways because, they're looking around at the team as like, yeah, I don't want, I kind of want to be here anymore. Let me go somewhere where I can actually win.
Yeah. 100%. I'm actually looking right now. Someone that I respect as a football guy said the best chance at a Jordan Love trade happening is if a team offers a 3rd round pick and the Packers are willing to accept. They'd accept a 2nd rounder, but I don't see it being offered. I would be shocked if a 2nd rounder was not offered.
I feel like it would. It just depends. It just depends. Like, it really just depends on, like, because there's some teams in NFC I feel like that are still questionable quarterback. Because the
Washington,
the Panthers, Washington for sure. They could be, they could sit there like, oh, I want a quarterback, or let's stick with Heineke. Panthers, you know what? We'll stick with the duo system with Sam Darnold and Newton. Or maybe they're just like, yeah, you know what? I want to stick with Sam Darnold. Or I want to stick with Newton. Or even the Giants, for example, we'll stick with Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Or, hey, let's draft the quarterback or something like that. Or, let's trade up.
I actually did hear a report the other day talking about the Giants might be interested in bringing in Mitchell Trubisky to have a camp quarterback battle against Daniel Jones. But I don't think that makes sense because Mitchell Trubisky is going to have a high-end market. He's going to get started. He's going to start next year somewhere. I really do think he's going to start.
Panthers. I think
Panthers, Washington, Saints maybe. The thing actually it won't be the Saints because the thing is the Saints have to pay. Yeah, have to not be able to pay money. Like it has to be very cheap.
Yeah, and I think Trubisky
he's going to get money.
Starting material. I definitely think he's starting material. I mean,
the question is what his limitations. Like what can he do? And then that's the thing. A lot of people value that he sat for a year behind Josh Allen. People value that. I've heard a lot of reports that like that is what drove up his price, and made people want to start him is that specifically. So it's interesting. And
I would too though.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
And
And I just want to say, man, good for Denver. Like Denver, I mean, we were talking about this trade a little bit earlier. I think Denver clearly wins this trade. Like their team, obviously, I don't know their free agents for next year, but they're a team that has a lot of money right now, right? And they have some very, very young pieces. They just signed their whole receiving core. Their whole receiving core is going to be there, Their offensive line's solid. They have a very, very good young running back in the backfield. And their defense. We know about their defense. And now Von Miller's over here posting Instagram stories about him in his Denver Broncos jersey. He might come back for cheap and go try to win another Super Bowl. And what they gave up, I was telling Devin earlier that I think that if you look at it, they gave up 2 years of first-round picks this year and next year. I think their roster is going to be intact next year. They have enough money next year that I'm not even worried about it. By the time they need to start rebuilding, not rebuilding completely, but I mean replacing some of the older pieces or replacing guys that are going to go away for big-time money, they're going to get those draft picks back. They're going to be getting back into that draft pick circulation again, because it's only 2 years. It's only 2 years with a guy that is going to win. That pick next year is going to be in the 20s. Because their team overall is so strong that they have advantage. Russell Wilson is not better than Patrick Mahomes. He is not better than Josh Allen. He's not better than Herbert. Right now, I'm taking Herbert over Wilson. I'm taking Burrow over Wilson. But you know what Wilson has more than all of them? That team, that roster, that defense.
Exactly.
Obviously, depending on coaching, because they do have a new coach, all that. We'll see how defense plays in this new system. But the players are there. The players are there. This was a true one quarterback away, and they got it done. And like I said, if you look at who they gave up Fant. They were deep at tight end already. And Fant, I think, has 1 year left. They gave up Drew Lock. Kiss my ass. No one cares.
They wanted him gone.
Yeah, they wanted him. They literally could have kept him as a backup, but instead they decided to give him away. And Shelby Harris, who's a 31-year-old defensive tackle that has 1 year left in his deal. You know what I mean? They didn't really give up players. They gave up 2 years of first, 2 years of second, and I think 1/3, and they got Russell Wilson and a 4th.
And not just that, like I heard a lot of hypotheticals saying like, oh, they're gonna have to give up someone big like Jerry Jeudy and stuff like that.
Not
And
even a
he's still
big time
there.
player.
Ca-
Not even a
Exactly. KJ
defensive player.
Hamler's
Like,
still there.
think about the young players that they have on their team. Like, they could have given up a young corner. Didn't have to. They didn't give up anyone where you're like, oh, wow, that's kind of hurt. No. A defensive tackle, which is one, like, respectfully, this is a good defensive tackle class. If you really, like, think about it, who was a big-time D tackle that was drafted, like, high end? The Titans have the two defensive tackles on the team, undrafted free agents. Never even drafted. You know what I'm saying? Like there really isn't like big. I mean, Ndamukong Suh is one of them, but he rushes the passer. Vita Vea is one of them. Was Vita Vea a first rounder? He was a first rounder. But they rush the passer. You just need a guy to come stop the run. You have Bradley Chubb and someone else, maybe Von Miller, and it's just respectfully, it's not a big deal.
So this just came to my head. Because I agree with you. I don't think in the past year or two, unless there's someone I'm missing, especially like you said, the D-line position that has came out and was like, whoa, that guy's really fucking
specifically
good.
The D tackle position that Shelby Harris plays. Like, Shelby Harris is a big dude that stops the run and can kind of rush the passer. Like, he's a good defensive tackle, but he's 31 on a 1-year deal. Okay.
And mind you, actually, this is actually gonna be kind of fucking crazy here. I just thought about it. The Bucks, I believe JPP and Ndamukong Suh are both free agents this year.
And the Denver Broncos have money.
You know what they could do? Hear me out on this. This is crazy. Alrighty. Obviously, all the attention right now is on the Broncos. Everyone's looking at the Broncos like, whoa, that team got real good real fast. Oh, they got Russell Wilson. Oh, shit. Oh, Von Miller's posting. Oh, shit. Oh, they just lost their tight end. Oh, hey, Rob Gronkowski, you want to come to the Broncos?
No.
Hold on, but imagine though.
But their tight end room was deep already. That's why it doesn't matter. Like, they had Albert O, who was this prospect tight end that they already had.
Now this is if they want to build an absolute super team, like kind of what the Bucks did. Hey, let's add Gronkowski to the roster. There's one more player I was thinking about. Oh, they could, hey, let's take JPP or Ndamukong Suh if they're willing to go on.
Sue I could see, yeah. That would actually make sense.
Right. He's not some super elite talent, but he will definitely help with the
running game for sure.
With the D-line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and D-line in general, yeah. I think Sue's actually a decent fit.
So I think that's a possibility. I think Gronkowski's going to go there. I doubt it. But it would be just an idea. I think he does have other options because I actually kind of like him going to Buffalo or like he said
Tennessee.
himself. This man.
I'm just saying, Mike Vrabel's a Patriot.
Maybe he Joe
Burrow.
He said
CJ Uzomah is a free agent. They need a tight end.
That would work out perfectly. I mean, and that kind of eliminates them having to draft a tight end. I mean,
which is
tight end, I would.
What I do like actually is the Titans. I want them. We're getting completely off track, but I want the Titans to get a tight end too. And now that the Seahawks traded for Noah Fant, Gerald Everett is a free agent just sitting there, and I'm like, hey, I'll take you. Like, you're actually not half bad. He played really well for the Rams. Like, could block and everything. I'll take you. Shit, it's a good.
Right.
But anyway, off topic. Yeah. So. I think it was a win for every team. Like, okay, the Seahawks, they admitted that it's time to rebuild. Like, that's fine. You got what you got some good value for it. Now, if you can trade those other pieces like we talked about, make some plays, then you could really rebuild your roster. And for Denver, obviously, one quarterback away, they had to make the move. Like, with the roster like that, I feel like you're bound to make that move, and they did make that move. And they're now a serious Super Bowl contender in the AFC. It's crazy because usually, for example, when Brady went to the Bucks, the Bucks were the number one team, the favorites to win the Super Bowl. When Stafford went to the Rams, they were the favorites to win the Super Bowl. I don't think Denver, even with that's the case, would you say Denver's the favorite? Obviously, free agency and stuff hasn't happened, but who would you say, as of right now, is the favorite to win the Super Bowl?
It's tough because when I look at teams this year, it's really tough because their defense has always been great. I think they've had one of the best defenses in the past couple of years. In the league for the past couple of years. Offensively, it's tough to say because I want to compare it to some of the other teams. The Bills, they just keep getting better and better.
Yeah,
I
Bills are
feel like
legit.
I feel like what they had going on at the end of the season was perfect. I remember we talked about it 1,000 times. I was like, the Bills cannot be good if they cannot establish a run.
Yeah.
And once they started establishing the run in the playoffs, they started, doing actually really good. And I was surprised. I was like, wow, look at this. They're actually running the ball. They're becoming successful with it, and they're still able to pass well. Pass pretty well as well. Now, when you look at the Chiefs did. I mean, they looked good this year. They looked good, especially the second half of the year.
Yeah.
When the first half of the year they struggled. However, there's a lot of question marks that are starting to pop up in my head. They didn't look like that elite team that was in the Super Bowl the year before that against the Bucks, or even the team that won the Super Bowl 2 years before that.
Yeah.
They gave up a big lead against the Cincinnati Bengals, which was incredibly shocking, especially with the lead they had. So, if I had to put kind of like a ranking, it would be 1 Bills, 2 Broncos, 3 Chiefs as the top 3 teams. I think that
You were completely missing out on the Rams.
No. Oh, just for the AFC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is just for the AFC. That is my AFC rankings.
Yeah.
So I think they're definitely up there. They're definitely top 3.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that we're obviously it's not really like a big thing right now because we don't know what's gonna happen at free agency. But this is the advantage that Denver has. Denver has a roster to compete with everybody, I think. But more importantly, they still have money.
Yes.
The teams like Kansas City and Buffalo, they are very low or in the minus. Like Buffalo just cut a linebacker today to save $9 million. So I don't know exactly where they're at in their money right now. Maybe they're in good standings now. But Denver has money. They can add some more pieces to their squad, which they, depth or whatever it is. Right now, I'm going to say my favorite in the AFC. Man, I really want to. Maybe it is Denver. No, it's Denver. It's Denver. Denver's the favorite. I think that like just overall depth. If you look at position at position, out of those 3 teams, because I agree with you. I think those 3 at the top.
Yeah.
And I guess you could throw in Cincinnati, but I think that they need some
offensive
pieces
line
too.
work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's first and foremost. I don't care what you
and
say.
some corners and stuff like that. So I'm gonna say those 3 are my favorites. I'm saying if we look at running backs, who has the best running back? Personally, Denver.
Yeah.
Who has the best offensive line? Kansas City. Kansas City has a very, very good offensive line. Who has the best wide receivers? Overall? Or let's just say overall? I'm going to say Buffalo.
Are we including tight ends?
Sure. Receivers. Yeah, tight ends and receivers. I'm going to say Buffalo, but it's very close. Because Diggs, Davis, I think is Sanders. If Sanders isn't there, I don't know if Sanders is there. I don't know if I think he might be a free agent now that I think about it.
Sanders at
Emmanuel Sanders.
You didn't hear much of him last year for the Bills.
Yeah,
it was mostly Davis and.
But
it was mostly Davis and
I don't know.
Diggs.
Maybe it is Denver. I don't know. It's all very close.
I
Defensively
think it's
though,
just the Chiefs though.
you think it's the Chiefs' weapons? Other than Tyreek and Kelsey, I don't like the Kansas City weapons.
Okay, I will only say like if I had between those 3 teams, I would put Denver at 3 for this specific reason. I feel like we have not fully seen like talent-wise. I think Broncos have it. In terms of what we've seen so far, I think it's got to be the Bills, just because of the fact that the Broncos have not had a good quarterback to fully display how good these receivers are. But I definitely think they've got the most potential over there.
And and let's say defensively, which I know it's weird because they're not, but Denver like secondary, Denver
easily linebacker core, Denver. D line.
I don't know about linebacker core. Linebackers, they're not great at linebacker.
Chubb?
Oh, I kind of consider him defensive line, but yeah, I guess. But even if that's the case, look at, Buffalo has Edmonds, Milano at linebacker. I'm gonna say Buffalo, but Denver's
Bills,
there. Yeah. But defensive line, like,
well, the Chiefs had Chandler.
It's hard to say Denver because it's hard to say without Denver because they they don't have a complete, they don't have, like, for example, they have Bradley Chubb, but then now they don't have Shelby Harris or Von Miller, so it's like, who are they going to fill those pieces with? But that's what I'm saying. Like, Denver has money to fill those quote-unquote holes to put them over the other teams that don't necessarily have that money. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference between Denver and those other teams, is they have that opportunity. So it's going to be very interesting next week, like, when free agency swings by.
And it makes me wonder, actually, like, I feel like Von Miller did play a pretty good, had a really big part of the defense for the Rams.
But I feel like he can't be the number one piece anymore.
Oh, for the Rams?
In general, I don't think a team should sign Von Miller and say, "Oh, we need you to be our best pass rusher." I mean, look about it. He was playing with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, damn, it's pretty. Like, I think with Denver, if Denver can get a solid defensive tackle to come play, like, get pressure in the middle, and if they get Von Miller back, Von Miller could be the, and Bradley Chubb has a good productive year, which he really hasn't. Like, he's been on and off with injuries. I think it could work, but I think, obviously we'll see what they do. Maybe they go with cheaper guy. Maybe they go Chandler Jones instead, because
that would be a good
Chandler Jones is a free agent. Maybe they go Harold Landry, because motherfucker is probably not coming back to Tennessee anymore. But yeah, anyway, so that's our thoughts on that trade. Let's real quick, not a crazy amount of time, but any franchise tags you want to talk about? I know you want to talk about Godwin and how it was a big mistake.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the Godwin one. We're paying him $19 million, and I feel like a player like that. I mean, someone who, like, the moment he left the field because of an injury, you could see the offense had to work differently.
Yeah.
I feel like Godwin is the staple of that offense. I think he just needs to get paid, and we could use a franchise tag on someone else. Maybe someone like Ryan Jensen. Because if we lose Ryan Jensen and he decides, oh, no, I don't want to play for the Bucs anymore, well, okay, so now we lost Ryan Jensen and Ali Marpet. That is
I forgot about Marpet.
That is not setting Kyle Trask up. Whichever quarterback we get, that is not setting them up for success. And I really don't want to see, Kyle Trask or whoever we have get sacked 1,000 times in the backfield. So, and that just, brings up another issue. Like, Tristan Wirfs is, like, a phenomenal and probably one of the best offensive lines in the league right now, but he can only do so much as one person.
Yeah, and, here's the thing. I'm a big believer. They wasted the franchise tag. They wasted it. There's nothing you could do about it. It expired today. There's nothing they can do about it. They wasted it. $19 million for a guy that won't not play the whole year. And I could say that doesn't even include a possible injury that could happen to him while he actually plays. That just includes the fact that he will not start the year next year. If he plays week 1 next year, I will come and eat my words. But there's no way. Coming off a torn ACL, he plays week 1 or week 2 or week 3 or week 4 for sure, right? I think that's pretty much known. So you're paying $19 million for a guy that will not play the first 4 weeks for sure. Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly.
And especially for a team that has no idea what their direction is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you don't know what if Kyle Trask comes out this year, and because it looks like after today, I think we can calmly say Kyle Trask or another rookie is going to be the starter of the Bucs next year, right? What if that person or Trask does not work out? You're putting a lot of money into people, like, to extend these guys or give them contracts for a fact that you might be rebuilding it. You might be wanting to rebuild in 2 years because your guys are getting older and you don't have the quarterback to match it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's truthfully what it is. So it just doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, for that team, for the Bucs, like, sure, I don't think I would have used the tag at all. Because,
I think
like,
maybe on Ryan Jensen.
But how old is Ryan Jensen?
I think he's maybe, I'm going on a limb here, 28?
30.
Okay.
So you're going to give him a 30-year-old a tag but you might, in it for what? To try to get a longer-term deal? Like, that's how I see the tag. I see the tag to try to use it on someone that you want to get a long-term deal with, right? Like, you actually, you know what I mean? For me, like, I feel like you cannot commit a lot of money to a center if you might especially one that's 30 years old, if you're going to have to rebuild it soon. Like, wasn't Chris Godwin tagged last year? Yeah.
Yes, this is
He was
second tag in a
tagged
row.
last year. This is his second year. So now what? That's a 4-year contract. That's at one. He's probably 28. What is Chris Godwin?
Might be even younger than that. 27, 26.
Chris Godwin age. Oh, shoot. He's 25. Wow.
Oh, so he's young.
He's actually. Oh, sorry. 26. He's 26.
See, but that's like a super young receiver. That's someone you want to lock up as soon as possible.
Exactly.
Especially with how good he is.
But I'm just like, and that's what I will say. If you do this with Godwin and then you get a long-term deal before free agency starts, because there's a time period when the franchise tag, like, you cannot negotiate with the franchise tag player anymore. There's a time. I don't know exactly what date that is, but there's a time, like, when you, like, they franchise tag Chris Godwin, so they can negotiate all the way up until that time, which it might even be next week. It might be when free agency starts. I'm not sure. But if Chris Godwin is still on the franchise tag when that date hits, the Bucs failed. In my opinion, because then you're actually paying $19 million and you don't have a long-term deal. You know?
And actually, I forgot this player, and you mentioned him earlier. I think so. Now Ryan Jensen should be put on a franchise tag, even though that would be my second person that I would.
Carlton Davis.
That man right there.
That should have been it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we should have. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player, but he's not a player on the team that's like, whoa, he's so good. We've got to get him a long-term contract. No, Ryan Jensen is part of that phenomenal offensive line. We need him, especially with Ali Marpet gone. You know, we can sign him to a solid long deal. Chris Godwin should have been a no-brainer. So it's gonna be interesting, and not just that. Like, Gronkowski is a solid blocker as well. So now that he's most likely gone, it's gonna be interesting how that's gonna function as well.
Yeah, and that's that. And by the way, OJ Howard's also a free agent.
Yeah. Oh God, I forgot about him.
But
Gronkowski,
I'm looking at the list right now. Everyone that got franchise tagged this year, Devontae Adams, they're obviously going for a long-term deal. Obviously, we know that. Orlando Brown, huh?
I said if Rodgers, like, the moment I saw Rodgers was there for 4 years, I was like,
we knew he was gonna get. He's gonna get his deal. They just tagged him to make sure they got him for sure. Okay, Orlando Brown, the tackle for the Chiefs, he got tagged so they can negotiate a long-term contract. David Njoku, the tight end for the Browns. I don't know what the whole point was. That I thought he was going to get released because they had another tight end, but obviously not. I don't know about that. Mike Gesicki, the Dolphins tight end, he got re-signed because they wanted to negotiate a long-term deal to have him in the new coach's system. Same thing for Dalton Schultz with the Cowboys. They wanted him to come back because they knew they're probably going to cut Amari Cooper. He's going to get some money of that. Let's be honest. And then Jesse Bates, the safety for the Bengals. They were negotiating. They couldn't get it. They tagged him. Also, the last one, the tackle for the Jags, Cam Robinson, which I kind of like this. I actually saw a tweet earlier that was like, this is so smart by the Jaguars because if this allows them to take the best available player in the draft at number 1 overall, and which is true. Like, because they brought in a tackle, now they kept their tackle. That allows them, if they think that Aiden Hutchinson is the best player in the draft, edge rushers a need, they get Aiden Hutchinson in the round. Or if they're still like, listen, we love this offensive tackle, we're going to take him anyway, this allows them to maybe trade Cam Robinson because it seems like a lot of people are interested in offensive line. Like, a lot of people want to continue to build their offensive line, so Cam Robinson could be a piece of another offensive line. The way that they used them was all these other teams used them for those contracts. It didn't, like, to me, if they use them and they don't get long-term contracts, to me it's just all a waste. You know?
Are you prolonging something for no reason?
Yeah, exactly. You gave him an absurd amount of money for a reason that you couldn't even negotiate. Like, you guys couldn't get a deal. And then next year you probably do the same thing because you still can't get a deal. You know what I mean?
I'm hoping that's not the case, but
yeah, of course. But if it does, it sucks.
Right, and I feel like it just blows my mind because we still have a bunch of guys. Like Mike Evans, I think he's gonna forever be a Buck. I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. You know, if we signed Godwin to a 4-year contract, that would
someone save this for when Mike Evans leaves the Bucks because they don't have a quarterback.
Don't you fucking say that. Don't you fucking say that. He stuck through Jameis, he'll stick through Trask.
Maybe he was forced to stay with Jameis.
Don't listen here, buddy.
Anyway, keep going.
Tyler Johnson He's a good rookie.
bro.
Oh well, he's not a rookie this year, but like he's under his rookie contract still, and I think he's a good receiver. I think he's a good receiver, and I think like maybe down the road he might want to leave to be maybe a wide receiver 2 or 1, just because when you do have better receivers in front of you, you kind of get overshadowed. But if he were to stay, that's receivers we really wouldn't have to worry about. I just think we have a lot of pieces to fill in this year, like a lot of them. Like
that's what
tight
happens.
end is gonna be one, possibly O line, possibly running back.
Not
I don't
possibly
think
a
running
line,
back.
definitely a line. You definitely have a guard and a center now to look at.
Oh yeah,
Jensen
Well,
ain't coming back. It ain't coming back.
Like top priority is gonna be offensive line, defensive line, because if we don't sign JPP or Ndamukong Suh back, that's 2 people gone. If
Well, you
Jensen
also do
leaves-
have Tryon, Shaq Barrett, maybe inside
true.
defensive line. But yeah, I could see that.
okay, so we'd only be missing one piece.
Well, let's not forget you also
I
get
like
the draft.
Tryon.
Like you also have the draft to be able to add some depth to your squad.
Yeah, but that makes it interesting though, because it's like, who do we choose first then? You know what I mean?
Well, now
feel
with
like
Godwin,
whatever
I don't know.
happens-
See, I was
and that's
thinking
what I'm
receiver for
saying.
you guys, but there's no reason to select receiver to be a wide receiver number 3 first round, especially with the holes you guys have. Maybe offense, maybe guard. There's some really good guards at the tail end. Zion Johnson's a good guard. Kenyon Green's a good guard. Maybe Linderbaum, if he follows a 27 at center, he's really, really good center. What else?
See, but that changes it though, like because if
Maybe
Ryan
corner?
Jensen does get signed, you know what I mean? Like, I would like, hey, let's sign him to a 3-year deal.
Yeah, but you
You
guys
know?
don't have the money. You just gave Chris Godwin $19 million.
Just to any deal we signed.
What about
Ryan
Leonard
Jensen.
Fournette?
Oh, see that. I don't think we'd use a 1st-round pick though for running back. No way.
Well, no, you're not. I'm saying there's no way you can, because here's the thing. Think about all the teams that need money. Need centers. Bengals. There's so many teams that need offensive line help. Ryan Jensen's gonna get paid, dude. Hold on. Let me see this real quick. The Bucks.
I think we have like 18 or 13 million cap space for this year. So we really don't have much to work with.
Wow, that's actually more than I thought you had. Hold on.
Or it should be that. I'm not sure if anything has changed since then.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, I don't think this website has it right, because I don't even think you guys have to pay for Marpet because he retired. You don't have to pay for Brady either, I don't think, because he retired. I don't think so, at least. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Tom Brady's contract, I think, was fully guaranteed. Like, all of it.
Wow, that's tough.
worth
Maybe
it, though. We came out with
you
the
do
ring.
owe him some money then. I don't know. Maybe you don't owe him all the money, but just a little bit of money. Yeah. See, you only
Yeah.
owe him $9 million, so that's probably what it is. I don't know. I actually don't know how much money, but for example, Ryan Jensen's calculated market value is $10 million. Remember, that's $10 million a year. So 3 years, that's at least $30 million. And that
I
doesn't
guess
even
it's like
include
ultimately what he wants to do, though. Like,
Fournette
he
is
could sit
$6
there-
million.
See, I don't know.
But
Like I said,
what are
it
you gonna
depends on
do?
What we do, because like we could sit there and like, if Ryan Jensen is willing to be humble, but look, I understand that people want to get their money, so if he leaves, I completely understand. But if he would be humble enough to take a pay cut, so we can add more players to the roster, that'd be incredible. I think
Yeah,
it would be
okay.
more
But
likely side.
Let's be honest. If he gets $30 million to go play with Joe Burrow,
Yeah, no, that's.
I
I
mean,
would take it.
listen,
I would
if Brady was there, then maybe there was loyalty.
Right.
But
No,
you don't.
I
You have
agree.
Kyle Trask, which is the same
Don't
reason why I think.
disrespect
Which is
Kyle
well,
Trask.
listen, it's the same reason I think Chris Godwin didn't. I think personally, I don't know. I don't have sources, and no one has confirmed this. But I truly believe Chris Godwin did not want to sign the contract. Did not want to sign. I guarantee you, the Bucks were going to pay him good. But I bet you, Chris Godwin didn't want to because he thinks that because it's going to be Kyle Trask.
That, or maybe he needs to see more from him too. see more from Trask and see how Trask is going to function as quarterback. Which, I mean, I would totally get that too. I was actually thinking about that too. I was like, maybe he just wants to see one more year with the Bucks.
But I don't think any player wants to be franchise tagged. Like, yeah, it's a lot of money, but if you play bad this year, like, think about this, right? He gets hurt, so he's hurt. Mm-hmm. He comes back late, and he does not look good. He does not look good because Trask, whatever. The Bucks are not going to offer him nearly as much as they were going to give him last year, and no free agency team is going to offer him that much because he's coming out. You know what I mean? Like, there's some things that add up. No, I think that he didn't want the contract because he doesn't want to play with Trask. What? I mean, what other reason? You're going to get paid a bag. They're willingly paying you $19 million this year. You're not even playing the full year. So how much money do you think they were going to give him?
I feel like there's a lot of theoreticals, like hypothetical situations you could make from that, though. Like, you could sit there and say, like, maybe they weren't going to pay him enough, or maybe they just, like,
sure,
maybe they didn't have enough time.
Yeah, they weren't going to pay him enough, but then they give him $19 million. Come on now.
I mean, look, maybe
$19 million, dude. Come on, look, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's because of the franchise tag. Like, yeah, what if he saw the contract and was like, no, I want more, or like maybe he wanted more time to think about it, or maybe they both agreed upon it and was like, hey, let's just do a franchise tag for now, maybe work on a long-term deal later on.
I don't know.
There's so much situations. Like, I don't know.
All right.
It's a shit show over here.
This was supposed to be a mini podcast, and it's over. It's literally about to be an hour. So anyway,
this man's attacking not just the Bucks, but my quarterback.
Sorry, mine's not any better. Moving on. So, yeah, that is this March 8th, 2022 recap or mini podcast, whatever you want to say, because it was a crazy day. Hope you guys enjoyed. A lot of very good conversation. We got our thoughts in there about all that. And like I said, look out for a mock draft coming, our first combined mock draft, and then obviously a lot more mock drafts on the way because free agency stuff coming up and stuff like that. And there'll be some videos on that, reactions and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's everything, right? And check out all of our links, all the good stuff, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.